Welcome to today's webinar, Inside Roku's Self-Service Success, Scaling CX with Agentic AI. We'll get into introductions in just a second, but before we get too far in, a couple of housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent out after the fact. We will also be taking questions at the end of the session, so there is a Q&A functionality at the bottom of your Zoom window. Please feel free as we're going through the prepared section of the webinar to ask questions, and we'll get to those during Q&A at the end. Introductions. My name is Toby Chadwick. I am one of the customer success managers here at Quiq. I've had the privilege of working with Matt, who's on the call, and the rest of the Roku team to work towards getting an initial iteration of their AI agent out in front of their customers. I'm excited to kind of walk through that experience with everybody today. Max, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thanks, Toby. Hi, everyone. I'm Max Fortis, a product manager here at Quiq. I work across our product suite and closely with many of our customers, and I'm excited to talk through and show how Roku is using agentic AI in market today. Matt, you want to go next?
Thanks, Max. Thanks, Toby. Hey there, I'm Matthew Feinstein, so I'm Director of Product Management for Roku's customer support platform. So I'm responsible for all the product strategy and roadmap for all of the tools and technology that power the customer support experience at Roku end to end. And we've had a great experience working with Quiq and looking forward to telling you all more about it today.
Great. I do just want to frame the conversation today a little bit. I want to talk about the current state of customer experience. Today's consumers expect more convenient, consistent, and customized service across every touch point. That being said, it simply isn't cost effective for consumer services organizations to provide always-on human agent support on every channel, in every market, potentially multiple brands across the globe. In fact, doing this often causes more harm than good by spreading employees too thin and negatively impacting service quality, leading to higher service costs. First generation chatbots seem to offer a solution to help navigate this increasingly complex customer journey, but their failure to handle even routine tasks, coupled with poor handoffs to human agents, often only exacerbated the problem. We've seen these limitations become apparent when a customer changes context mid-conversation. Legacy chatbots just don't do well with context change. Everybody on the call has probably personally experienced like disjointed or nonsensical responses because you attempted to go down a specific path that wasn't accounted for in a predefined flow. Even worse is when the bot just gives up and hands off to a human agent mid-conversation and doesn't effectively pass any of the context from the conversation to that point onto the human agent. This just means your customer has to start their interaction over again from scratch when they get to that human agent. Enter Agentic AI. With Agentic AI, consumer services orgs are finally able to offer 24/7 personalized assistance across channels, plus seamlessly pass conversations to human agents as needed, achieving unprecedented scalability. We're going to think a little bit about the ability for an AI agent to know the best course of action after addressing your immediate need. So you come home to realize your garage door won't open. You reach out on your channel of choice and get an AI agent. You may get that agent and say something like, "What does the blinking red LED on my opener mean?" A previous generation bot, you would go through a list of different openers. It may ask you, like, "What's your problem?" And you pick through a predefined list of options to get you down to a defined end. RAG-based AI assistants are better. They'll disambiguate down to the instructions for like a subset of openers which have a blinking red LED in a potential failure state, and they might give you the types of answers that would most likely help you, but isn't customized to your issue. An AI agent looks up your account based on your phone number and responds with something like, "The blinking red light on your opener means there's a motor overload, which is unsafe for you to reset. I can help you service a scheduled appointment." So you can kind of see how the AI agent took multiple pieces of information from different sources, things like your account information, instructions on how to interact with a customer, knowledge about the product, your utterance or the context of your question, and then gave guidance while proactively offering the next best action to you. They even have the ability to take that action for you, like scheduling an appointment. This is the exact same level of support you would probably expect from a human agent. If there is a need to move to a human agent, these new AI agents can pass along all that context in concise summaries so that human agent who next services your customer is prepared and ready to continue that conversation and not just start it over. So for the rest of the webinar, we're going to dive into how Roku successfully harnessed agentic AI to power customer service at incredible scale. But before we do that, just to keep everybody engaged, and we're hoping to get some questions for the end of the webinar for the Q&A section, we do have a poll question. Matt, Max, and I are hoping that people will answer this one. Which statement most accurately describes your company's current AI usage? We'll just wait a minute as answers are coming in. So we have our previous generation. We use agentic AI to power autonomous agents. That's great. That's what we're here for today. And it's also exciting to see where other people are at in their journey now. Ask some questions for those people that maybe aren't in that 33%. Go ahead and ask some questions because we're excited to help you understand what that journey might look like for you. Okay, so we do want to talk a little bit about the challenge that Roku had. Matt, do you want to talk through some of the things which initially brought you to Quiq?
Yeah, thanks, Toby. So I'm going to start off and tell folks a little bit about Roku and the kind of, as Toby alluded to, kind of the scale of Roku's business and unique kind of products and services we offer. So that'll help set the stage for, what we did, why we selected Quiq and what we've done. So Roku, a lot of folks on the call may be familiar with, is a streaming TV pioneer. We actually launched TV streaming in 2008 with our first hardware product, which was a small box. You could connect to your TV, and then you could connect that to the internet and watch Netflix on it. So that simple beginning marked the start of kind of the Roku platform and the beginning of a kind of revolution in the way TV was watched. So streaming has now become the dominant way Americans watch TV. The majority of US households actually, as of this year, now stream TV as their primary way of watching versus getting it from the traditional methods like cable TV or satellite TV. And it's worth noting that if you're a US person and you're streaming TV, chances are you might be a Roku customer. Roku has half of the broadband US households start their experience with Roku. So that's over 90 million US households. So that's a lot of customers. And that doesn't include our international footprint, which spans across Canada, Mexico, Latin America, United Kingdom, France, Germany, and Australia. And so that's a pretty significant international footprint as well. Looking a little bit more at kind of the Roku ecosystem. So we have an extensive set of devices, software, and services that people use to get our streaming experience. Oftentimes, most often this starts with the Roku devices, which is the primary way consumers, end consumers onboard to the Roku experience. And within those devices, we've got quite a few. We manufacture a variety under our own Roku brand, starting with things like streaming players. You may be familiar with things like a streaming stick, which you can plug into your existing TV to get the Roku experience. Another way people often get Roku is via a smart TV, which have the Roku operating system built into it, and we make our own TVs in this space as well. And we also have a line of smart home devices, cameras, doorbells, that kind of thing. Another way beyond just Roku's own branded devices people get Roku is by buying a TV from a third party with a Roku operating system built in. And Roku, so you go to a store and they're from brands you know and familiar with, and that has a Roku operating system built in. These are distributed globally, and we are based on this kind of distribution method. We're the #1 selling TV operating system in the US, Canada, and Mexico. Roku is also a platform for the leading content providers worldwide. As you might imagine, we provide access to other providers' apps or channels on our platform. So things like HBO, Hulu, Disney, Netflix, and many more. There's actually tens of thousands of these channels that we support. So you can have any kind of TV you want to watch is available to you. We also have our own channel and content distribution kind of play, the Roku channel. There's the #2 app on our platform by streaming hours, and we're expanding this business rapidly. In the last few months, we acquired the Friendly subscription video service, if you're familiar with that, and just a couple of weeks ago, launched something called Howdy, which is a new low-cost subscription TV and movie offering. Finally, I can't fail to mention that Roku is an advertising platform. It's a major driver of our growth. We connect brand advertisers with tens of millions of our customers. So Roku is the kind of connective tissue between the streaming audiences and advertisers. So we have the devices, we've got the operating system, we've got the ad platform, and a growing chunk of premium ad inventory. So that's kind of Roku in a nutshell, pretty broad array of products and services and a huge international footprint. So given that kind of context, we had a challenge, right, obviously, and that's trying to scale our support offering in an efficient way at a high quality. We want to be able to do this without constantly scaling up the level of human agent support we have as we grow larger. So this is critical to enabling efficient scaling of our business and maintaining that quality, as I mentioned. And given the wide range of services and products offered by Roku I just mentioned, this is a unique challenge. Our support team has to deal with, when you think about like what might be happening from a support point of view, a wide array of different types of customer contacts. People may contact us about like hardware issues. So for example, you might need help connecting your device to Wi-Fi. It's kind of technical troubleshooting. Or you might want help with one of the tens of thousands of apps that we provide for getting access to your content. So content issues, maybe subscription billing issues that goes with that. So it's a pretty broad array of reasons why people might reach out to our customer support. And obviously, like we've looked at AI for years, is trying to be able to help with this. But what we found is that this kind of, especially when it comes to bots and AI, that first generation of bots just could not scale across this broad business. The traditional approaches, kind of Gen 1 bots meant building and maintaining thousands of static conversation flows, which just isn't sustainable given how rapidly Roku is growing and how kind of small but mighty our team is to try to provide this customer support. So we were really hopeful with kind of LLM, large language model based bots combined with Agentic AI that this offered a different path, one that could scale to handle this wide range of possible customer support inquiries without all this manual scripting and testing and updating for thousands of different utterance variants, etc. So we set off trying to find an LLM-based AI agent solution and looking for solutions and a partner to help us with this effort, so we could take in our real focus, take these repetitive contacts off our agents' plate so they could focus on more complex issues where human judgment adds more value. And what we needed from a partner as we looked into this further was we knew kind of like the AI wasn't enough. A lot of people, vendors are offering AI, but the tooling around it, the ecosystem around it, providing kind of visibility, flexibility, and observability was really critical to making this work in a real world customer service environment. So given our small and mighty kind of engineering and customer service teams and rapid pace of change in AI, we wanted a partner who could handle this kind of heavy lifting to get us started while giving us control and transparency and a solution we could eventually do our own building with. And we also knew we had, I would mention, constraints on the content side of things. We have knowledge articles, which, as everybody probably knows, are critical input into kind of agentic AI. We have hundreds of them, but we also didn't have the bandwidth to have to try to rewrite or reformat these articles to work with any AI experience. So that was a constraint we wanted to make sure it was addressed. So in closing, in short, our goal is to combine the power of large language models with the right technology and operational partner to improve customer experiences and increase agent efficiency and do it in a way that's scalable for our business. Max, I think I'll hand it back to you now to provide more details on the Quiq solution that was developed for Roku.
Awesome. Thanks for that great background and overview, Matt. Now we're going to dig into how the Roku experience actually works in more detail. So as Matt mentioned, the Roku agent handles a wide range of customer requests. These generally fall into two buckets, and we'll be looking at examples from each. The first is around general product questions and troubleshooting. As Matt mentioned, Roku has an expansive catalog of not only physical products spanning TVs, speakers, and soundbars, but also digital products and services as well. The second group of requests is generally around account-specific information. So Roku's AI agent can prompt customers to log in, pull account and billing information to help answer specific questions customers may have about their account. In both cases, Roku's AI agent is able to leverage a flexible cognitive architecture powered by process guides that enable it to adapt to conversations naturally as they're happening. And in all scenarios when the agent is unable to assist, it's able to seamlessly escalate that conversation to the appropriate team with all the appropriate context passed so their human agents don't lose a beat. So we're going to take a look at what Agentic AI looks like in action. We're going to play a short demo of a device troubleshooting flow, and we'll look at how the AI agent handles it. So we'll start with something vague here. And the agent's going to continue to clarify that initial input and ask more follow-up questions until it understands the issue that the customer actually has here. Once it does, it's going to be able to provide instructions tailored to helping me solve my specific issue. And then it's going to be able to handle all sorts of follow-ups and related questions without losing any of that conversation context. So we'll go ahead and just thank the agent here and wrap up this short conversation. So we saw how the agent was able to take that vague request, just it's not working, and come up with a troubleshooting script on the fly to help me self-solve my TV issue. Let's break this down in more depth and talk through the key components of an agentic experience like this. So here we're looking at our first step in our conversation where we entered that vague "it's not working" phrase. As part of Roku's agentic architecture, we're using multiple different large language models and prompts simultaneously to help classify and respond to user input, which always starts with selecting the right process guide. You can think of process guides as similar to the sort of guides you'd give a human agent. They consist of a set of instructions, best practices, and guidelines the agent can use in different situations. So in this case, the AI agent isn't sure if it should use maybe a device troubleshooting guide or an account troubleshooting guide, so it's going to ask me to clarify and get more information before it helps me solve my issue. And as we mentioned, the agent isn't following a hard-coded path here. So once it confirms it's a product issue, it's going to adapt and start using that specific process guide and is going to come up with questions in real time to help understand and diagnose what my issue is. So here it's helping me troubleshoot naturally as it attempts to learn more about what I mean when I say my TV isn't working. And you can imagine how helpful this is for Roku with a huge catalog of complex products and services. Having hard-coded troubleshooting paths with every possible permutation here isn't feasible, like Matt was mentioning earlier. Now, continuing, so once that agent does have enough information to start answering questions, it will go ahead and generate an answer from one of the data sets it has access to, in this case, providing information on what my error code means and what I can do to resolve it. Now, to call out with Quiq, Roku is able to transform the data that gets integrated into the AI agent. Broadly speaking, this means making it more useful for that AI agent. This might mean stripping out unnecessary formatting or content, like references to a customer support phone number, or it might mean adding in content, like a description of what this article can help with, common questions it answers, helpful links it uses, and much more. All of this helps the AI agent more easily find the correct articles or data sets to reference and ensures content in the articles is relevant given the context in which it's being used. And then crucially, all these transformation steps can be done while keeping the content in sync with its original source, so Roku isn't stuck managing multiple sources of truth while making this data AI ready. And then the agent is also able to handle somewhat related follow-up questions because it's considering the whole conversation context when answering. So once again, just being able to handle the long tail of customer questions, even when they don't follow a scripted happy path. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at a second use case around how Roku handles account-specific questions. Like in that first example, the agent's going to leverage different process guides and tools depending on what the customer asked during the course of this conversation. So we can go ahead and play the video here. So I'll start a conversation, and the agent's going to prompt me to sign in here as the first action. And then it will pull in account-specific information directly related to my question here. And then can answer all sorts of follow-up information, follow-up questions with that information as well. And then can combine that with general knowledge to give me specific instructions to help with my issue. So we'll go ahead and thank the agent and wrap up this conversation. And now we're going to run through this flow one more time with a different reaction to that initial request to log in that we saw. So instead of authorizing that and signing in, we're going to go ahead and say no thanks here. And instead of just asking me to log in again or automatically escalating me, it'll answer with the information it has on hand. So let's go ahead and actually break down how an experience like this is set up. So here we have the start of that conversation. We're using that same multi-prompt orchestration approach we used to select the guide in the last example. But in this case, my initial request isn't vague, and the agent's going to be able to identify the correct guide to use right off the bat, which is going to be around account troubleshooting. Now, we mentioned how the agent has different tools it can use depending on context. You can see it prompting me to log in here. There's no need to make the customer sign in that previous flow where we're just providing generalized product troubleshooting. But in this case, the agent's able to recognize, hey, I'm going to be most helpful if I have some account-specific information, so it prompts me to sign in. And then once I've logged in, the agent's able to sort through the information it has available to it related to my account and use the most relevant pieces to answer my question. In this case, pulling up an active subscription and asking if that's the charge that I don't recognize. Now that I've logged in, I can ask follow-up questions around maybe how long I've had this account active for, and the agent is able to answer that without needing a hard-coded script. As we'll talk about more in a bit, even though the agent can be dynamic in a way previous generation AI can't be, every message is still being sent through a series of fully customizable and traceable guardrails to prevent inaccurate, off-topic, or off-brand responses. This is a critical step in being able to deploy agentic AI at the scale Roku has. You need flexible process guides that can adapt to each task while still having complete visibility and control of the guardrails to ensure your agent is providing helpful and accurate answers at every step. The agent's then able to combine that account-specific information with general knowledge, and here you can see it's able to provide step-by-step instructions on how I can go ahead and protect my account from future purchases by creating a PIN. And then lastly, you saw at the end of the video, we attached another vignette where the customer chose not to log in when presented with that option. When we talk about agentic, it means adapting to the customer. So when I reject that initial attempt to sign in, which the agent knows is going to be the most helpful thing it can do in this context, the AI agent's still able to answer from general knowledge. I can continue to have a back and forth here, and it's going to help me instead of either just kind of trapping me in a sign-in loop that I'm sure we've all experienced, or immediately escalating me to an agent. It's going to adapt and try to help me self-solve even if I don't want to sign in. Now, all the experiences we just talked about were built in Quiq's AI Studio, and I want to briefly talk about AI Studio and how it enables these sorts of interactions. So AI Studio gives the Roku team the best of both a buy and build approach to agentic AI lifecycle management. It provides flexible tooling for Roku to build exactly how they want without fitting their experience into limited templates, being limited by the large language models available to them, or by being hamstrung by simple debugging and testing tools that limit confidence when deploying agentic AI at enterprise scale. Quiq handles the maintenance, scalability, and ecosystem required to power an agentic AI agent across all customer touchpoints, while Roku gets the observability, flexibility, control they want. And Matt's going to talk about this piece more in a little bit. I also want to zoom out and take a look at the agentic architecture in AI Studio that's fueling the Roku examples we looked at. This architecture enables the agent to adapt to conversations naturally as they're occurring. So the first step in this process, which we can see here, is taking that customer input combined with the conversation context and external context to determine what process guide the agent should be leveraging. As we've touched on, this orchestration step isn't just looking at a single variable, like what's the topic of the user input, but is instead analyzing things like whether it's a sales or service inquiry, whether they're a new or existing customer, how frustrated they are, and a bunch of other definable criteria to select the right guide and move the conversation forward naturally. And then crucially, this step is running on every message or event from the user, so it's easy for the agent to adapt or switch context as the conversation progresses. And then, as we mentioned before, process guides have access to specific tools and systems. So that might be account information, product catalogs, knowledge bases, and much more. And the agent can leverage those depending on the context of the conversation without needing a hard-coded script. Also, to call out, the examples we're looking at today were mostly reading data from systems, but the agent can also take action in external systems when appropriate, whether that's helping a customer update a flight, start a return, schedule an appointment, like in the example Toby gave earlier, or any other scenario where you don't need your human agent performing that task over and over and over again. And crucially, all of these steps and actions are going to run through a series of guardrails and alignment steps that are fully customizable and fully transparent, so Roku can feel confident that their agent's going to stay on task and in scope of what it's meant to do, while giving it the agency it needs to handle the wide range of customer requests that Roku receives. And Matt's going to touch on results here in just a minute, but I do want to highlight that with Quiq, Roku is able to create a custom AI-powered analysis engine that can review and score every conversation based on their specific customizable criteria. This enables them to do things like identify top contact drivers, grade accuracy of a conversation, identify if it was actually resolved or if it was just contained, apply a CSAT score to each conversation, and more for every single interaction. This makes it much easier to spot emerging trends, identify areas of opportunity and improvement going forward. Now that we've walked through the current Roku use cases and how Quiq makes them happen, let's go back to Toby and Matt to hear about the results Roku has experienced and what they're planning to do next.
Great. Thanks, Max. That was some great context for the next little bit of the webinar. So we're going to go back to Matt now, and he's going to talk about the success we've had to date with the current AI agent. Also about where we're planning on leveraging learnings from the initial iteration to improve outcomes. And then just another reminder, Q&A, center of the screen. We'll be getting there in just a minute, so we're looking forward to your questions. Matt?
Yeah, thanks, Toby, and thank you, Max, for the great explanation of kind of what the underpinning of a kind of agentic agent that we've built so far, like technically how it works. I think that was a great demonstration, and let me give you a little more information now, kind of what our experience has been from a results perspective. So we worked with Quiq during the first half of this year to build an agentic AI experience and integrate that into our customer support platform. So we engaged a cross-functional team in Roku to do this of UX designers, data scientists, customer support operations, and internal engineering to make this happen. So call out to all those folks for getting to this point. Many thanks to everyone, including the Quiq team. So we didn't just launch this. As I get into this, we tested this in a A/B test with a subset of customers getting access to the AI agent, and then the kind of remainder control getting access to our original friction-heavy web contact flow, kind of our traditional contact flow you may have experienced at many web properties where you have to fill out many different forms, et cetera, and are presented self-service along the way to try to prevent you from reaching a human agent. And within these results, we achieved a kind of 48% containment rate, which means the bot was preventing escalation to a human for 48% of the conversations. So this exceeded our expectations, and we saw from this significantly reduced customers' attempts to contact a human agent compared to the control experience. And due to these strong results, we decided to fully roll out this agentic AI experience to all of our United States customers, which is the majority of our contact volume today. So if you're a US customer looking for help and you come to our website, this is what you're going to experience, what Max shared earlier there. So we're still in the early stages of our bot and agentic AI journey, but this initial launch has gone very well. Let me present a little more context on what containment rate means and what it doesn't mean. Kind of, there's some background there. Containment means the bot the customer didn't escalate to human advisor or human agent and kind of resolved the issue as far as we can tell. In many cases, AI's role, though, is to gather details and hand them off to the right human agent, which isn't counted in containment, but still improves efficiency. Toby mentioned this earlier. This kind of context and when handing off a conversation to a human advisor is critical. In our case, we spent a lot of time working with Quiq to make sure that worked properly. So we hand off, if the AI agent needs to hand off to human, that human agent gets things like a summary of the conversation, a full transcript of the interaction with the AI agent, and this enables other things that enable them to pick up where the AI agent left off and not have to frustrate the customer by asking the same questions over again. So this type of integration into our CRM and contact center as a service to ensure that this contact is handed off from the AI agent to a human agent with context was a significant portion of the work that Quiq helped us with. So this 48% is just a baseline, and we're just getting started here. Some other findings, I think, from our A/B test, which are worth noting that are beneficial to kind of Roku. We are compared to our original live chat experience, the Agentic AI provided a more engaging kind of conversational experience which reduced channel switching. We offer customers a choice in many cases of phone or chat if they need to talk to a human. And we found that with the Agentic AI in the picture, this contact mix shifted from 70% phone, 30% chat to 57% phone, 43% chat because of this more engaging chat experience where customers are more likely to want to continue in chat rather than channel shift. So that's a win because our human agents can handle 2 chats at once versus only a single phone contact at once. So this improves efficiency in our contact center. We also saw that the humans and the work they're doing in the conversations handed to them ended up being more focused on complex, non-containable, or we say non-self-serviceable contacts. So we saw this proportion rise during the course of the experiment from 28% to 32% of all cases handled. So this is kind of exactly what we want to see. We want to see the AI handles the simpler, repeatable, self-serviceable issues where humans focus more on the higher value, more complex cases. So that's kind of a summary of the results so far. Let me tell you a little bit about our roadmap and things we've seen that we're working on in the near term to further enhance the AI agent, because there's always room for improvement, certainly. So the first thing is we're enabling the AI agent to actually take actions when customers contact us on subscription billing adjustments, one of our top contact drivers. So this is when customers contact us and say, hey, they have a problem with the charge on their credit card, they want money back for some reason or want that charge adjusted. Today, these contacts can only be handled by a human agent based on policy, but we're working to change that by integrating the AI agent with the necessary systems to handle this without a human. After that, the billing adjustments kind of capability, we're looking to add personalized device data into the AI agent. So today, the AI agent doesn't know anything about what specific Roku device you have unless you tell it. So we're going to change that and provide the same kind of information that you saw in Max's demo, where the customer will be able to log in. The bot will get information on your Roku device model number, warranty status, operating system installed, other device analytics data, which will enable it to provide a shorter, more satisfying conversation and higher resolution rates. It's also worth noting we're exploring ways for the AI agent to solve a common problem with companies that have subscriptions or accounts where customers get confused on what account they need to be, they have a question about, they may log into the wrong account and then kind of get stuck. So the bot will ask challenge questions to confirm the right account and enable the AI agent to help in this scenario. We also have some plans for a voice version of this experience, and that's kind of exciting. I'll comment more on that in the upcoming slides. So these kind of early results show the AI agent is kind of reducing contact rates and improving efficiency and setting us up for even greater gains as we expand in the months ahead. I think before I get into a little bit more about analytics and kind of the voice experience, I wanted to speak about partnering with Quiq and our decision-making process, really focused around this kind of build or buy. This happens every time we have a major kind of customer support platform project. It's the biggest decision we have to make. Do we buy? Do we build? It's never a black or white issue for us. As everybody probably knows, buying can save time and resources and provide a proven ecosystem, but building gives you the kind of control and flexibility and ability to control your own and shape your own roadmap. And for us in Roku, this control was very important to us. Roku is very much a builder culture, right? We build a lot of our own products, hardware, software, services, and we want a high level of control over roadmaps. So that's a critical factor for us. At the same time, we knew we didn't want a kind of vendor or partner providing a black box solution, something where we couldn't see how it work or build ourselves with it or adjust it when needed, where we would just be 100% dependent on the vendor partner. At the same time, we knew building this entire platform from scratch would have been a massive lift for a small team. We often, I think, as we looked at different vendors, found that tooling was one of the big differentiating factors. Other vendors offered things that were challenging to use, often targeted to engineering users, often offering a fragmented administration experience where multiple consoles and dashboards had to be used to see how the system is set up and what's going on. So we really needed a balance that would meet the needs of our business team and technical teams so both teams could get behind the solution. So we ended up choosing Quiq. Quiq handles the heavy lifting for us with maintenance and scalability and the ecosystem that powers the AI agent. They do this heavy lifting. Roku maintains kind of the observability and flexibility and control. For any conversation, we can use their tooling and ecosystem to see the AI agent's reasoning end to end. We can see the transcript. We can see the chain of reasoning in the AI agent. We can see the outcome at each step and why it happened and everything in a single console experience. So this hybrid model gives us the best of kind of buy to build, best of both worlds, where Quiq provides this AI expertise and infrastructure, and over time, as our capabilities grow, we'll be able to build more of our AI agent with Quiq's tooling. So this isn't just a black box we're locked out of, it's a partnership with Quiq that gives us immediate value now and the flexibility to take more control in the future.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Matt, and just to kind of speak personally to this, in my role, I'm in an interesting position where I need to be able to support both technical and business teams. Working here at Quiq, one of the great things about the product is it makes it easy for me to do my job because it's been built to meet both of those teams' expectations, and it can fall anywhere along that build to buy spectrum. So, like customization decisions on the part of a Quiq customer who I might work with, they're easy to implement, they're easy to support, and they're easy to observe. And that's kind of why it's the only solution CX and technical teams tend to agree on.
Thanks, Toby. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think I see some interest in analytics here. That's always, as we always look at solutions, buying or building, like analytics is always like top of mind for us. We found competing solutions often required us to build a lot of analytics capability from scratch. And so we were really, wanted a solution that worked out of the box in day one. It would give us deep insights into how the AI agent was performing. We didn't want to have to look, as I mentioned, across multiple consoles or have to build out all this analytics capability or be dependent on our engineering team even to go look into logs and give us insights into what's going on. We wanted a single place where business users could largely do this work. So we use Quiq's Insights, kind of analytics dashboard every day to dig into what's going on with our AI agent. We can see, slice the data in multiple ways, understand performance, spot issues, and find improvement opportunities. And as I mentioned, every conversation is reviewed through a series of LLM prompts. I guess Max mentioned this, and generates key insights that are available in Quiq's reporting dashboards. We can slice the data in multiple ways depending on what we're interested in by different segments of, for example, by type of issue, whether it's technical troubleshooting or account billing issues. We can see conversations that are contained in about account billing issues or troubleshooting issues, and we can look at it by other parameters, such as whether the customer indicated they were satisfied or dissatisfied. Other things we get, as I mentioned, a conversation summary that captions the main interaction, so we can see a quick summary without having to look at the transcript and details. LLM or AI estimated customer satisfaction score to understand customer sentiment. Customers often don't fill out actual CSAT surveys, so getting this computed information is useful. An accuracy grade, this kind of LLM assessment of how well the bot AI agent understood and responded. a resolution score indicating whether the kind of AI agent solved the customer's issue or not. A primary contact driver, as we know, we have many contact drivers, and Quiq's system assigns a primary contact driver to us based on the conversation, and actually injects that into our CRM so we can track this from a ticketing point of view. And there finally a disposition in how the AI agent resolved this issue. So why this matters to us, we can dig into the transcripts and use this dashboard to see exactly what happened and connect these insights to changes we need to make in training or content or AI agent design. It's a fast feedback loop for us, so lets us continually improve the bot and measure the impact of changes over time.
Yeah, and one of the other abilities that we have is to use these same analytics tools, things like funnels, cards, chips, other visualizations, to drill down into specific business outcomes. So this is kind of like part of my primary focus to try to help demonstrate value. So we can look at things like, was a subscription cancellation avoided, or was a one-time refund issued, and measure the actual efficacy of the AI agent towards actual business goals.
I guess thanks, Toby. Yeah, and speaking a little bit more about the voice AI side of things. So as I mentioned, what we have launched so far is in our chat channels. When customers come looking for assistance and invoke a chat conversation, the AI agent is there. This actually leaves an opportunity for us. So today, our direct dial phone number is actually like our largest channel by contact volume. And like many companies, we don't expect this channel to disappear in any time soon. Many customers just want to speak to someone. They don't want to chat. And in some cases, we find that for things like technical troubleshooting, where there can be some back and forth involved, this channel is more efficient than trying to have a conversation over chat. So we see voice is going to continue on strong into the future. The challenge we have, of course, is many customers bypass our website entirely, finding our phone number on Google and calling us directly. So that means we can't influence their journey before they end up in our IVR and connected to human advisor. So they really kind of bypass the existing AI agent altogether. So the opportunity now is that Quiq's agentic AI is proven in our chat channel. We can really take that same technology and foundation with some adjustments and extend it to voice, where the potential impact on Roku and for our customers will be even larger. We'll be able to answer, we expect, common questions and collect details and escalate only where needed, improve efficiency. So we're really excited about the impact of voice AI agents going to have for our customers and business overall. It's a really exciting area for us today. Quiq also has, by the way, really a good experience in kind of how to make this work well, the best possible customer experience in AI effectiveness in voice. Toby, can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can actually speak. I can speak to that. So I work with a number of customers who have either launched a voice AI agent or in the process of launching a voice AI agent. And one of the things that's super impactful is, like, once voice is in place, it's really easy to create like a multimodal experience that really takes that customer convenience to the next level. So to kind of contextualize it around what we talked about today, in Roku's case, if a customer calls asking about a subscription charge they don't recognize, instead of the voice AI just reading information of the charge back to the customer, the AI agent can acknowledge that they found the charge and then send an SMS or an Apple message with information on the charge, and even include like a deep link to the subscriptions page for the account with the details that the customer is looking for. So that multimodal experience really enhances that customer convenience and allows them to get answers to their questions in a format that is most suited to the actual content of that answer, right? So on that note, and just to move on, we're almost to the Q&A portion. We'd love to see some more questions in there, and to help kind of spur a couple questions, we do have one more poll question. So, which of the potential consumer services agentic AI use cases we've discussed today do you find the most interesting and exciting? Did not bring my Jeopardy music today. And the results are in multimodal omni-channel customer service. That's interesting. That is a focus of a number of the customers I'm specifically working with, and designing out those multimodal experiences such that it really enhances the customer journey. And that's just a primary focus of a number of the large enterprise customers I'm working with. Great. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Q&A. All right, let's see if what we have there. Max, you want to take the first one?
Yeah, sure, Toby. So we have a question about how do we think about helping human agents when the conversation gets escalated? We touched on those AI summaries, obviously, which I think a lot of folks have probably seen from other vendors. The other big piece that we didn't touch on here is that within AI Studio, you can also build what we call AI assistants, which are designed to help your human agents be more effective during the course of a conversation. And those are built using that same agentic architecture we were just talking about for AI agents. But instead of sending responses to your end customers, what they're doing is providing suggested responses your agents can use, one or multiple at a time, providing coaching and taking action on behalf of that agent. So that could be, updating a field in a CRM, starting a return, helping a customer with some tasks so the agent doesn't have to run off and do that manually. So they use that same sort of flexible process guide architecture. So they're listening to the conversation and external events and adapting to that conversation naturally, just like AI agents do. The difference is they're not sending messages to the customer. They're either suggesting responses for your human agents, taking action for your human agents, or providing coaching during the course of that conversation. But great question. We definitely want to ensure that your human agents have world-class tools they can use as well.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Matt, that looks like there's a question addressed to you as well.
Yeah, let me read it here. So it says you mentioned that trying to manage first generation bots that required hundreds of intent flows wasn't scalable. Can you speak to how agentic AI and working with Quiq has changed this issue? Yeah, this is a great question. I think there's like two parts of this. Like one is kind of the quick part of this, I would say, which is that hey, like any partner you work with, like really needs to understand your business well. And this maybe seem like an obvious point, but during our experience, we evaluated over 30 different vendors here. We often found that they came to the table with generic solutions, things like the good old hotel booking demo or flight, booking demos, which are great. Like I don't want to diss those things. Like it's important for those industries that they get AI solutions, but we often found these companies didn't really try to understand all the unique aspects of Roku's business. As I mentioned, Roku's ecosystem is fairly complex, especially when we start getting into some areas like how you subscribe to things and many different ways to do that on Roku and all the troubleshooting questions. So I would say, firstly, just to not to belabor this, I think Quiq really came to the table in our actually the first demo and really demonstrated an understanding and a customized demo that showed us that they wanted to address this challenge and they could do it well. The second thing, like as I mentioned, like we have had some first generation kind of bot projects at Roku, and given that traditional technology kind of based on things like intent and slots is simply not scalable. Customers ask things in many different ways on the understanding side of things, and it's just not possible to keep up with all the different ways customers can ask questions. So traditional bots just don't have the understanding capability, especially our customers. I'll be honest, oftentimes when they reach us, they're confused and they just want an answer, and they might have a vague question that a generation one bot just can't handle. So the understanding side of things is critical, as is the language generation, the ability to actually have a conversation. I think the rest of this is, so we don't have to build these static flows. Quiq ingests our knowledge and has built these process guides, which provides the agentic experience guidance the way you would provide a human agent on how it should be handling questions. What are the steps it should take to try to elucidate the issue to get an answer? So we're not having to do this. It adapts to these conversations. It can understand even the vaguest of questions. We've been really impressed looking at transcripts, thinking to ourselves, like, how on earth did this bot even understand what the customer was asking, right? So it's a combination of factors. There's the company DNA and willingness to dig in, really understand how we do things in the contact center, set that up in the bot, and kind of the process guides and agentic experience Max referenced are the difference makers there. I don't know if you guys want to add anything in comparing yourselves to Gen 1 bots here. I think we did that already though. So
No, I think that was a perfect answer, Matt.
cool.
Okay, great. I'll take one. Is it possible to use image recognition in device troubleshooting flows? Yep, that's the short answer. The better answer, yes, we can. The LLMs are often multimodal now in that they can take in voice, image, text. They can look at an image and help in things like determining the type of remote you have in the case of Roku. Uh, Other customers I work with, like there's a disambiguation step on like what type of garage door opener is it? Is it a chain drive or a direct drive? And you can take a picture, send it in. The LLM can see that and interpret it if the customer doesn't know that. So there are definitely use cases for image recognition in device troubleshooting flows. And we have started to work that into some of our customers with some of those multimodal LLMs. Max, there's one here that I think you wanted to take.
Yeah, we got a question which I think came in as Matt was talking through some of the analytics pieces around does this platform have an analysis layer to actually go into the data of the interactions? Is there an automated way of knowing the issue the customer had in the beginning, reason for contact? Can it give advice on what the issue was and maybe how to fix it? So this is a key part of building and setting these up and analyzing them. So we touched on this briefly, but just to double click on it, before that conversation closes, Roku and all of our customers are able to set up kind of custom criteria using different large language models, different prompts that they want to apply to that conversation. So we touched on things like, identifying, hey, what's the topic of this inquiry? And that can either be an AI generated topic or it can map from a list of customer approved or defined topics. And that same thing can carry throughout these other questions here. So that might be, hey, let's look at the content the AI agent sent during the course of this interaction. Was that relevant? Was that helpful? What could have gone better in this interaction? So all of the stuff that your team might have to have done manually previously, you can leverage AI Studio to have that stuff happen automatically for every conversation and then identify, hey, I want to drill into this subset of conversations that the AI agent flagged, the customer got incorrect or unhelpful information or CSAT was low. You can then drill into those conversations and identify areas of improvement or opportunity to improve your experience going forward. So yeah, that customizable insight suite is a huge part of our offering and a huge part of where our customers are able to continue to be successful and expand their experiences over time.
Great. Here's another one. When setting up process guides, are these knowledge-based articles? And how did you fine-tune to ensure accuracy? That's a great question. There is a number of inputs into the process guides. If you think about an AI agent in the context of a human agent, the instruction it's going to need is very similar to what a human agent would need. So oftentimes we'll leverage the human agent process guides to take those, run them through an LLM, and format them in such a way that it's a step-by-step process that is easy for the model that we're using within the agentic flow to follow. We also use some of that information from knowledge-based articles, and we also will often do actual conversation analysis on previous conversations between a human and a human, or a previous generation bot and a human to help generate those process guides. To maintain the fidelity of those and ensure or increase accuracy, there is an entire testing suite within the AI Studio where we create tests, which are logs of outcomes that we want, and then are able to tune that guide and tune the prompting to specific functions within the AI agent so that we can have an outcome, and then an AI engineer here or with one of our customers has the ability to make changes, replay those conversations or replay to get those outcomes, and adjust things as needed. Cool. Max, you want to add anything to that? Are you good?
No, I think the only thing I'd add to that, Toby, is you've got those high-level set of instructions, and then like we saw for Roku when we were looking at that agentic architecture, you still have fine-grained control over the details happening in any of those interactions or for any of those process guides. So we talked about things like um, pre and post generation answer guardrails. So okay, let's make sure before an agent sends an answer that the claims it's making are backed up by the articles it's referencing or the data set it's referencing. So you can define those process guides using high level natural language and then still have that really detailed control over the key parts of that interaction, whether that's the data set it's using, the tone of the answer, all that sort of stuff is still you have full visibility and control over that. So it's the best of both worlds in terms of describing high level issues and being able to really get the exact interaction the way you want it to be for each customer interaction.
Great, thanks. One more. Looks like we have time for one more. Matt, there's one here that's probably appropriate for you.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. No, sorry. I was going to say, I'll just read the question here. What CRM do you use, and how did you improve the customer experience for your agents using Quiq? So I can't, specifically mention the CRM that we use, but I would say that it is one of the most common enterprise CRMs that begins with a letter that's kind of late in the alphabet. We'll just leave it there. Quiq, I would say, I just want to add here that this integration with that CRM was something that we spent a lot of time on integrating with the ticketing system. So we pop the ticket to the agent with the right forms and fields selected and the right metadata in the ticket. Quiq really stood out in this area in terms of their ability to do that integration. They're deep experts in this CRM and really helped us navigate some challenges we had along the way, some significant challenges. Actually, without them, I don't think we would have been able to succeed. So I just want to call that out here. How we improved the customer experience for our agents, actually, I mentioned it earlier. We provide the bot transcript, a summary of the conversation. There are forms and fields selected automatically for the agents, so which tell them what the conversation was about. So providing that context, I would say this obviously is just the start for us. We are, like many companies, looking at more ways to provide human AI, but our focus at the moment is trying to kind of reduce human-handled contacts so that the agent pool, then we can invest more in tools to handle the more complex ones. So I hope that answers the question.
All right, great. Thanks. So I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you, everybody, for joining our webinar today. We will be sending out the recording to everybody who did join.